Hello, New Life City Church. Welcome to this segment of our service called Community in Context. It's a time we like to take just to give you an idea of what God's doing in our community, in different people in our community, and in their lives and through our community. So today I'm excited to introduce you to Bailey Bacon, and I've known Bailey for a couple of years, so great to have you with us, Bailey. Thank you so much for taking time to be here. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an Iowa native, born and raised, a happy Kansas transplant though. And I grew up in a little tiny town called Postville, Iowa. In the third grade, my parents took a different job opportunity and we moved. And that was kind of the point where my relationship with Jesus changed a lot. Because at first it was like my mom was the director of Sunday school and I had all these fun activities, but I didn't know Jesus on a personal level. And after moving and starting a new church, and not having the same community that we had before, I had to seek it on my own. And then that actually that move encouraged me to then branch out and go to college in a different school, study abroad, and then I ended up here in Kansas City.
So you studied abroad where did you study?
South Africa for 6 months.
Wow, that's great. Well, so you've chosen a career as a teacher. First of all, thank you very much. It's been a challenging time, to say the least, this year. Why have you chosen that career path?
I will be honest and say I did not want to be a teacher at first because I felt like, yeah, they get summers off and they get to love on kids, but that sounds like a terribly hard job. And then in college, I tried a bunch of other paths and felt like, okay, this isn't working for me. I'm really meant to be a teacher. Honestly, the reason I stuck with it had to do with being able to love on people that were different from me. It was a really good application of my relationship and my faith with God that I couldn't get in any other career with the skill set that God gave me.
And tell us real quick, where are you a teacher?
I teach in KCK at J.C. Harmon High School, so I'm just off of like 70 and 69. Doesn't matter. I'm at J.C. Harmon High School.
There you go. Well, again, we mentioned earlier, thank you so much for doing that. And there have been a multiple number of challenges this year. And certainly if you're in a diverse setting like you are, one of the things we're certainly struggling with now is the challenges of the COVID-19, and what does that mean? So can you tell us a little bit about what kind of challenges have you faced, are you facing as you're coming into this school year?
A lot of them, but so is everyone. I feel like this is a time of kind of national trauma, and a lot of us are feeling a lot of different things we've never felt before. So teachers aren't really any different in that aspect, that our jobs are changing and that who we serve and how we serve them is different. But specifically just at my school, we're moving completely to online for the first 9 weeks, so that's the biggest challenge right now.
Wow, yeah. You're a science teacher, and
we prefer science nerd, by the way.
So specifically a science nerd, that's your admission. So, all right, which is critical. So thanks for teaching that. What advice, as we're going through some of these challenges, what advice can you specifically speak to our parents and to our kids here that might help them through this time?
Yeah, so my first piece of advice for parents is to practice a posture of learning, whether it's something like you sit at the table and do your Devo so your kids can see that, or you ask your kids for help on a piece of technology you don't understand. When you take a posture of learning, it makes it easier as a kid to realize like, oh, this is something I'm always going to do in my life. And so even though learning is hard and different now, I can adapt because my parents are adapting. Wow. The second thing I would say is give grace and give it really intentionally. So like today, to be honest, I had a meeting where I was like kind of tight-fisted and frustrated about some of the information and things we were getting or not getting in that meeting. And a coworker basically leaned over and was like, I'm going to give grace and here's why. And that reminded me when we verbalize our grace and why we're giving it, whether it's as a kid or as a parent, that is a good practice for us to do. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great, and certainly applicable as Christ followers is to be a learner and to give grace. And so, hey, Bailey, again, thanks so much for what you do. How can we pray for you as this school year is coming up?
I think my personal biggest challenge is how to be equitable in the way that I'm teaching my students, for students that have internet, that don't, that have 10 siblings at home and are trying to learn. So how can I adapt well to the different needs of all of my students?
Yeah, that's great. Again, thanks so much. Great talking with you, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.